So what was your first night in jail like?
First night in prison.
Like, paint the picture for us.
Do you know what? It was funny, yeah. When I first came into prison, I was still a kid, and even now I'm 33. I got a bit of a baby face, yeah. But back then it was worse. I didn't have no facial hair till I was till I was a lot older. Do you know what I mean? And man, they were shouting out the window, "Fresh meat," and these, them type of things, like trying to intimidate you and that.
Say it with chest podcast. Welcome to the Funny Francis and Dre podcast. I go by the name of Funny Francis, Big Belly for the Big Telly, your grandmother's favourite care home visitor.
It's Dre, we don't play, and we're filming another episode of the podcast today. But what's different today, Francis?
Today, we've got a former prison officer and we've got a former prisoner from the same blood clot wing. Something you've never seen before. But we'll hand over to our guest. Let him introduce himself.
I'm David Navarro. I go by Delinquent Nation. I got a podcast. This is my ex-prison officer on A-Wing, so we're going to have an interesting chat right now.
Real prison officer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I was literally about to ask how you guys know each other, like how this came about.
Yeah. So how long would you say I've known you for, in a sense, like rubbing shoulders on the wing? Like
I was on A-Wing for about 10 months.
Yeah, because I was there from 2018 to, when did I leave? 2022. Obviously, you'd have left by then.
Yeah, I got released 2020. I've been out that for coming up to 4 years now. Got released September.
Yeah.
But yeah, you was my prison officer on A-Wing. The Boulevard man them.
The phrase is crazy.
But yeah, we're gonna get into all of that anyways.
Yeah, we'll get into all of that. But I just want to quickly ask you, obviously, from your perception, what was I like as a prison officer?
I'm excited to hear this one.
On Alpha Wing.
What do you want to know?
It's like, from your perception, being on the other side, what was I like personally as a prison officer? Was I an idiot? Didn't give a fuck? What was I like as an officer?
Do you know what? I'll be real.
From my encounters, because we've had a few encounters.
We've had a few, some of them good, some of them not so good, you know?
Yeah.
But you was cool, man. You was cool. Do you know what it was? It was like, I know you got a lot of stick from the man them because you're black, innit? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I said that in the previous episode. You did. Real life,
real life, yeah, because you're black, and
the expectation and
the man them are like, why are you not bringing the packs in? Do you know what I'm saying,
literally.
Like, yeah, and I know you was cool, man. You was cool, but at the same time, the man them understood that you had a job to do, innit? You get? I was there for about 10 months. That was the end of my bird. Obviously, I started Delinquent Nation while you was my prison officer, And yeah, man. Obviously, since I've come out, I've been doing my thing, and you messaged me, and then I was surprised to even see that, bro. Cause I was looking for you.
Yeah.
I remember I found you while I was in there, Funny Francis. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. You was cool, man. You was cool, but some man wasn't. You wasn't cool to some man. Man like Kai. You's putting them on basic and them thing there. But for me, you was alright. You was cool, man. You was good stuff. You wasn't a job's worth or nothing like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. My team was up.
You said in a previous episode you never did more than you had to, like.
Nah. He wasn't doing the most. He wasn't doing the most.
You told me you used to just bang toilet.
Listen.
What's that?
Basically, in a previous
episode,
I told him, like when it was kicking off and that, and man are fighting and that, I'm just in the toilet.
So I didn't really see Francis on bend ups. I didn't deal with that. I didn't really see you on bend ups.
Let prisoners kill each other, bro. I ain't there. You're mad. You had man like. I don't even want to say the officer's names, but you had man superheroes and that.
Yeah, that was dying for it.
Dying for the bend up and that. Wrap up prisoners and that. But me.
You was cool, man. That was even more why the man then was like, bro, like, what you doing doing this job, man? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Naturally, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? And also it's like police officers. You see, like, if you see black police officers, black prison officers, automatically the man them are like, bro, what are you doing in this job, bro? Car, you're just banging up the man them that you probably grew up next to, you probably grew up around. You understand?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like I understood that you're just doing your job, and you was cool, Carl. Obviously, we're gonna get into our prison officer relationship later. But yeah, you was good with me still.
Yeah, just touching on what you said there, like the kind of perception of like, raw. Why is there a black man in this role? Is that like the right kind of mentality to have? Because I would imagine, let's say you go prison now, yeah, or anyone. And I just see bag of white man, not a black officer in sight.
100%.
Not a man to stare it to role model and say, yo, I've come from the same area as you, but look at me, I'm an officer, pattern up, do good, da 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 da.
Do you know what it is, bro? I'll be real with you. It was like, man, are doing birds. For me, I probably had one of the longest birds on that wing at the time, yeah. But man, are doing birds, yeah, and they're just they're just seeing the uniform. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's not you personally at that, but they're seeing the uniform, and you know, you grow to dislike people in that role, and it's like, even though you was cool and bro, we used to bust joke and all them things there, you know, we used to do all of that, but at the same time, it's like, you know, the man them are thinking, bro, what you doing in this job? Do you know what I'm saying? But you're right. Like in hindsight, you do need more black officers in that role, and to what's the word? Like influence, be a positive influence for the guys and that. Because as we're gonna get into, you actually influenced me on the YouTube thing. Do you know what I'm saying? When I was in there, so yeah. In hindsight, you know, you was good stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm hearing that.
Right, so let's go back in time a bit. What was your upbringing like?
My upbringing. So I was raised by my gran. I grew up in Tottenham, raised by my gran. My parents had passed away when I was younger.
What, both of them?
Both of them, yeah. Raised by my gran, and I guess like, you know, you could say it wasn't poverty. We had like a roof over our head. We had food on the table and things like this. But then I guess like getting older, you want things in it. Do you know what I'm saying? And then things like PlayStation 3, things like flat screen television and all them things. Like you want to get it, but you can't really ask. Well, my gran raised all of us in it. Do you know what I'm saying? You couldn't really get onto her for that. So then, especially growing up in an area like my own. I grew up in Tottenham. It's like there's a lot of it's high crime area in it, so you can easily find yourself getting into bullshit, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, my upbringing was good. Like I was dragged to church. You know, my grandma was proper strict. She used to beat us and all of that.
What's your heritage? Caribbean,
Jamaican and Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where the Navarro bit comes from?
Navarro comes from the Mexican. Yeah.
Man, what you been to El Chapo land and that?
Nah, man. Nah. I've never gone there before.
What, you been yard?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I've gone already.
Come on, man. Have you been yard?
Yeah, once. Many moons ago.
Yeah.
Many moons ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, but that's my heritage. I'm Jamaican, but I was raised by my Jamaican side, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm hearing that still. But yeah, so I want to ask you a question on the family thing. Like, obviously, you didn't have your immediate parents there in your life, but from your perspective, like growing up and from what you've seen, is like a 2-parent household essential to how a child then becomes a man and how they conduct themselves in society? Is that? Do you think that's an important factor or not?
100%, man.
Yeah,
100%, man. Car. Obviously, you don't realize it when you're growing up in that, yeah. But like, I've now got kids of my own, and me and my missus are together. We raise the kids together in the household. I've got a son, I've got a daughter, you know, and I believe, you know, even though my gran raised us militant, you know, my brother's back there, he knows, you know what I'm saying? She raised us militant, like, you know, she used to give us all the discipline, and she raised us good, you know. But you need a man. I reckon you need a man to show you how to be a man. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, a woman can do that, but only so much. I'm
hearing that.
What about you? Did you grow up?
Yeah, so both my parents were, you know what it is, I'll be honest, you know I like that, you know, because you actually asked me a question. Most of our guests don't think outside the blood clip box. All my previous guests, I rate you though, but I don't rate you, innit? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, to your question now, I've got my father died in 2016.
Sorry,
and obviously my mom's still, father died in 2016. My mom's still here, but I think my father was one of them typical Jamaican vacant father, innit? He did it, but he not did it. Really.
Yeah.
You see, so he'd be either burning ganja, just drinking, just bag of women, this, that, on a madman thing, innit?
I wanna add to the question now, yeah. I know you're interviewing me, but this is just
no. We're letting it flow. I like that. You're the first man to revolutionize the thing, innit?
Come on, bro.
You see me? Come on, we love pioneers in the business. Yeah, go on. Ask away, bro.
But like, how do you think your dad being a yard man and being burning ganja and that, how do you think he would have felt about you being a prison officer, applying for that role and doing that?
You know what's mad?
You never thought about that?
Huh?
Have you never thought about that?
Nah, because I think he just died as I started. Because I started at H&P Featherstone in Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
I started as an OSG, which is a grade below a prison officer.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was alive at the time. But you know what it is? I think he was, because he's nonchalant anyway. He don't really give a fuck about fuck anyway. So he would just say, go pay your bills. And on that level.
Yeah.
But I think my mother was more of the prouder one, but she was a bit shook in it. Because she was saying, "Rah, all these black prisoners are going to get onto you, da da da." So she knew what was gonna happen, didn't it? But I think my father, to a degree, as long as I weren't on the wrong side of the law and things, I think he would have
proud of you,
appreciated or understood and accepted the role that I went into. But I think stemming back to what you were saying, even though he was a vacant father, although he was still there, I think the fact that I could see the man sitting there was a good thing. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Even just to say that, raw, at least I could say, raw, my daddy did it. Although he did it, he still did it. You get it?
Yeah.
So, on that respect, because I think you learn particular things from both the mother and the father, innit?
Exactly.
To a degree. Like, me personally, I'm a cold bastard, innit? Yeah, I ain't got no heart to a degree, yeah? And I get that from him.
Yeah.
So, there's only a certain amount of kindness I've got before I just look after the thing.
Yeah.
And I think I get that from him. Whereas my mother will give away the world and she'll sleep on the floor. Now, my father said, "You're an idiot. What are you doing that for?" That's the kind of philosophy I took from him. But yeah, man. I think he would have been proud of me still, because obviously I haven't been like the wrong side of the law as such.
No word, yeah.
And yeah, man.
For me, it's like I was on the wrong side of the law, but I was pulling the wool. Do you know what I'm saying? So like I was like, my gran used to look at me like a golden boy, if that makes sense, yeah. Because I was good at home. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like the door would be getting kicked off, and I'd be like, it was my brethren's fault. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll blame it on my friends. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but then I think if you had a man there, he would have kind of clocked that.
Read the signs.
Man
reading what man are going in with the energy.
Especially with the generation thing as well. I was raised by my gran. She was like 2 generations. I wasn't raised by someone that was just the next generation, if that makes sense. So it's like, it was kind of easier to pull the wool, and it was easier to say like, that was just my friends, that was just da-da-da-da-da. And then, a lot of the time she just thought it was bad company, but a lot of the time it was just me doing fuckery kind of thing. And so I believe that you'd be in a better position if you had both parents there, I do this thing myself. I interview a lot of ex-prisoners, and I notice a lot of them say they didn't have their dad in their life, or they was in what's it when you're like
like Ballstall and like foster care.
Foster care, they went through foster care and all them things. So like there's a pattern, they didn't have both parents. There's a pattern, so that's why it's so important for me and raising my son for both of us to be in our child's life
intertwined. Definitely.
Word, yeah.
I'm hearing that. So you as a parent now, like, is it possible to? You say you got a boy and a girl. Is it possible to parent them both the same, or do you need to adapt and style it to fit like their characteristics and their personality traits?
Now I'm old school, innit? So the way I'm gonna raise my son is different from the way I'm gonna raise my daughter. Because I believe men and women are different. So they're both humans, but obviously men are men and women are women, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? And it's just little things like, if my son he's not at the age to fall over yet, he's still crawling or whatever, but if he's gonna fall over,
let him bust his head, innit? That's what I'm saying, literally. Because that's what I'll do with my
you know what I'm saying though? Like it's like no, let him find his own way up. But then with my daughter, that's my princess. You know what I'm saying? I'll help her up, kind of thing. And that's how she's gonna expect a man to treat her in the future. But with my son, he needs to find his own way up.
Because in reality, if you was to drop down, bust your head, and I was walking past, I'll just carry on walking. Because that's real life. A lot of people are just doing that.
Yeah, people just
So,
yeah.
yeah,
so
you're right. You're right.
It's like as a man, I think you just need to find your way. As a girl, I think I feel like as they're gonna, you see, when they're comparing their relationship, they might. There's a saying, yeah, a daughter's first love is their dad. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and a son's first love is their mum. So you got mummy's boy, daddy's girl kind of thing. And I believe like, yeah, if you treat your daughter like how you would want their future partner to treat them, that's the standards that they're gonna set. But then, you know, and with your son, if you just baby your son, like, oh, do you know what I'm saying? You're gonna grow a pussy at the end. Not a pussy, but
like a gal, yeah.
Yeah, but you want him to be a man. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I look at things.
So what about this philosophy of this? I know we're going on to the tangent. We'll come back on topic.
We can
soon,
do tangents.
You know. So what about this philosophy about these what is it? Hot summer girl. And I don't need no man. I can do all on my own. All of this madness. Like, where's this come about?
I don't know, bro. It's a hot girl summer. You know, it's a new thing, innit? Do you know what I mean? But I don't really. You see me, I don't really penny that stuff too much. You know, that's specific people. You know, and if certain girls want to have a hot girl summer, and certain girls, you know, they're not like that, innit? All girls are different, innit? That's the way I look at it. So I think a lot of people focus on, look at these modern women. You know, like these red pill man, these Andrew Tate fans and stuff. Yeah? They focus on these broken girls basically, and they're like, all girls are like that. But you know, if you live in a real world, it's not like that, you know. That's just a specific set of girls.
That they've hyper analyzed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And because we're all on social media now, and that's just what it's showing you. You feel like that's
the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not that. My girl's not like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she was. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get onto that later. But yeah.
Yeah, therefore. So yeah, what? Let's go into the nitty gritty, innit? Where the people want to hear about and talk about now. Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start from scratch. Like, how did you first get into crime, and like, how did it all start, and what triggered it? What initiated it?
It was influence again. Like, I remember growing up.
Do you remember what age you committed your first offence against the Queen and England and country?
Yeah, I think it was. I first got arrested. Oh, was it on the ped? No, you can talk, bro. It's cool. Oh yeah.
Oh, talking about very good.
Yeah, I was still in school these times, and
what year telling that?
Yeah, 9. Yeah,
Year
like
9.
yeah, I was. I used to back then. Yeah, this is 9. That was like 2004 or something like that. I'm old man. Do you know what I mean? But this is back in the days, yeah. I used to like back then. You'd rob phones, stuff like that. But I remember how it happened. Yeah, I could remember like one time. Like, so first of all, let's just start for the origins. Yeah, like my sister, she had a boyfriend. He's dead now. But he was like a part of this thing called North Star in Tottenham. There was like a big gang back in the days, yeah. And he had like the North Star chain. He had the North Star chain, and then I remember going to his yard. He got me. Remember the Academics? Yeah.
What DJ Academics?
Nah, see this? I'm saying you're too young.
You're
too young, bro. What was it? Academics, and what was the other one? Averex. He got me an Averex jacket.
Yeah, I heard of that in my life.
Yeah, this is old school. Like,
yeah,
got me an Averex jacket. These were like expensive jackets. Like, got me an Averex jacket. I saw my first burner. Like, he had a gun and that. Do you know what I'm saying? It's stacks of bread and that. And I used to think that was sick. You know, I looked up to that. You know, and but I wasn't really on the roads like that. But yeah, I remember like through school, I remember my gran, she had said one time, I asked my gran for like, I think it was a £10 or £20. And I remember her asking a neighbour, remember Auntie Bones? Yeah, she asked a neighbour for the £20, and then that didn't sit right with me, because I was like, you know, I thought she had big bread in it, it's £20 kind of
Yeah.
thing, yeah, or whatever. And then I just felt like I had to go and get it, like, for all of us kind of thing. But it doesn't end up being that anyways. But yeah, I started like going to different schools, so I'll bunk off my last lesson and then catch the end of someone else's school, like when they're coming out, and just rob them. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll just go out to them like,
Rob the school youths and that.
yeah, but I was a school youth myself. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not going robbing
was in
school
the
kids.
right.
So you're year 9 robbing year 8s and that, or you're robbing up? Are you robbing down or up?
But I'm rubbing up.
So
Bro,
you're robbing
you can
the
talk to
floor
my
or year
brother.
11,
I'm robbing
yeah.
up, bro. I'm not robbing down. I'm robbing up, but no, I'm robbing
Robbing
anything.
sixth woman.
I'm robbing anything.
University
but if I'm-
students and that.
If they had like, if they, it depends on what it was, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
it was like, because they had like W810 at the time, that was like a Sony Ericsson W810. They used to go
Shake
for
Walkman phones and that.
exactly.
See, I'm not too
Yeah.
young. Yeah, I know about them.
Them things, yeah, they used to go for a one-er they used to go for a one-er where we used to shot it and that. And then we got into like, I had another brethren from Holloway. And we used to go robbing bikes and that, was Specialized. That was the bike back then. It was like an expensive bike. I think it was
Yeah.
called Specialized. And we used to get the bowl cutters and just rob them and that, and then just sell them just for some like change, like 150, 120, like little bits. And then it went on to like mopeds. So then we would order pizza to the block or whatever. And then
I got robbed the little
No
pizza, man.
way.
yeah, we used to rob the pizza.
Okay.
We used to rob the moped and the pizza to the point that they stopped coming to the block,
Yeah.
And then we kind of got good at that, like black boxing and hot wiring.
So
and stuff like that.
let's dissect this now because we've progressed on the time on the.
But this is all still teenage years. This is all still when I used to ride my pet to school. My first police chase was when I was in school. Do you know what I'm saying? I was in a
Swear.
ped, yeah. With my ex
So
and
from
that.
robbing year 11s to all the way to black boxes and helicopter GTA style, you haven't reached 20 yet. You're still in your teens.
I'm still in school, bro.
Still in school.
Still in school, yeah.
Year 10 and that. You're not year 11.
Like year 10, 11, these times when I was getting on to, like I used to ride my ped to school in like year 11 and that, and bro, one ped was a pizza bike. I used to ride that into school and that, but it wasn't one of them bait. They used to be called Cub 90s, but I didn't ride them one. Like them Cub 90s were bait pizza bikes, but there was another one like Rev and Go,
Yeah.
and then I used to ride that one to school. And we just used to joyride it, like it was just like it's Rev and Go in it. Do you know what I'm saying? And then we used to hold police. That was just the whole antisocial thing, like And when you're doing these things, you're getting a rep,
Notoriety and that.
yeah, and people are like, they start to hear about you, and then you get a bit more respect in it, and then you start hanging around with the wrong crowd and whatnot, and you're all committing crime or whatever, and then that's how it went. And then obviously it escalated quite a lot after that. So how it escalated, I used to chill outside of a bookies. Where this bookies was, it was on my strip where I used to live, and basically the Turks had this strip on Smash, and they used to sell all the drugs on this strip. And then one time the police came and did a swoop. They bagged everyone on the strip. So then these times, there's no more shotters. So then I used to chill outside of the bookies. The olders used to be inside the bookies and that, and I used to chill outside with them. And then like users would come up to me and just be like, have you got weed, mate? You got weed, mate? Because there's no more Turks shotting on that strip anymore. So then one day I just capitalized on that and I just bought weed, like I bought a kilo of weed and then just broke it down. But I think them times a kilo of weed was like £30, £35.
Just for the audience who might not know, what is a Q? Just so.
A quarter of an ounce,
Yeah. What's that? How many grams is that?
7 grams.
7 grams.
Yeah. So exactly. So 7 grams, we used to buy it for 25 at the time actually. And then you'd make, each gram would be, I think it was 1.7 actually. So you'd make about 50, 60, you're making dead profit. But because that strip was so active, people are coming.
Yeah,
and
the turnover.
and then
mad.
eventually one of the people would ask for coke, then you get into coke. And then one time my brethren said to me like, my brethren was like, the big man said there's a spot in country, like, what country, like county lines, what they call now. There's a spot in country, we can go and work it, and then we get paid £100 a day. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, that sounds lit, £100 a day. And this is back in the noughties, do you know what I mean? So £100 a day was good, and still a teenager and that. So started going country. The big man tried to bump us, like we was working there for a week. And I used to tell my gran, like, I would be like, oh, I'm going to, what did I used to say to gran? Like, I'm going to college or something like that.
Well, I doubt it.
Yeah, but this time I'm going country. I don't remember what excuse I used to give my gran, but we was going there anyways. Big man tried to bump us. So my co-defendant on the latest case, yeah, it was us two up there together, and then he was like, oh, my man's saying he's not going to pay us. Like, you need to do another week. And then we clocked what it was, innit? They man are just using us kind of thing. So I was like, fuck that. Gonna rob the pack, innit? So so I ended up
Retribution. I love that.
Yeah, so I ended up robbing the big man, which was like it was a big name in Tottenham at the time.
Yeah.
But we robbed him anyways. And from there, I started up my own line in a neighbouring county. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so we was working in Ipswich, and then I went to Felixstowe.
Ipswich. Bro.
Yeah, we was working in Ipswich as teenagers and that. But after we found out my man wasn't going to pay us, ended up robbing his whole pack and the money, and like my Cody all took the TV out of the cat's yard and that. Like, yeah, we just robbed them and just kept it moving. So I went to Felixstowe, which was a neighbouring town, and then I started working in Felixstowe. And when I went to Felixstowe, I was like, who works there, kind of thing. And then it was a user, so it was someone that smokes white and B, but they sell just to make enough so they can buy back their own drugs. So I was like, right, I can capitalize on this. So I sold the rest of my man's pack, had enough money to go and buy my own pack. Like I think I bought like a half of each, half ounce of white, half ounce of B, and then went back up there. Then I started my own line. Then was up there for years making crazy money, and then I ended up having workers, runners, drivers. I had a whole operation.
So they called you Buzz Nut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then all the man them, like a lot of the man them in the ends wanted to work on the line and that. And then, yeah, so for a long time I was just smashing it there. And that's when I went to prison for the first time. So that's kind of like, in a nutshell, obviously I haven't gone into full detail, but in a nutshell, that's how I progressed.
And by the time you're the top kingpin in Felixstowe and that, are you still teen? Are you in your 20s now?
I'm still a teen, yeah. I'm still a teen, yeah. I got nicked in my 20s. That's when I got nicked in my 20s.
Dude.
That's when I first started going jail.
Yeah.
But I'm a teen throughout all of that, yeah.
So what, you had a good 6-7 years, like, untouched?
Yeah, when they finally grabbed me, like there's an article, I'll show you the article afterwards, but there was like, because I was doing fuckery up there, man. Fuckery that I can't even speak about. You can see it in the articles and that, but you know, I'm not trying to jeopardize myself, but incriminate or whatever. But yeah, I was just keeping up. And then, but the way I had, the operation was so slick, so smooth, yeah, that they could never grab me. And when they finally did grab me, because it wasn't my mistake, it was a worker's mistake. Yeah. And I ended up having to go up there myself. For a long time, I never went up there. Like I established the line, then I had people up there, kind of thing. And then yeah, eventually someone made a mistake. Ended up, basically, someone thought they can leave the food with a user, and just go about his business, and then the users end up smoking all the food, and then blaming it like, oh yeah, the feds raided, and we had to flush the food down the toilet. But really, they just smoked it. So then I had to go up there myself and just give bits and pieces to them. Yeah. And then yeah, eventually, they was watching me the whole time. They had bought they was set up in the house next to mine, watching me the whole time. And then when I went out, like one morning, I'm calling the worker. His phone's off, but this is like 7 a.m. So I'm like, sometimes, like a lot of the times, yeah, the worker would be asleep 7 a.m. So I'll go there, wake him up. So I've gone there to wake him up, and then 3 guys has just jumped out on me. It turned out they was undercover. Yeah, they jumped out on me, and then yeah, when the detective, when we was all in the we was in the kitchen, when we was all in the kitchen, the detective was like, we've been trying to get you for years. Do you know what I'm saying? He said that to me, and I'm going to do a documentary up there one day. Yeah. But yeah, they finally grabbed me, and then yeah, because I was doing, it wasn't just that I was doing up there. I was just bare fuckery I was doing up there. You know?
How did it make you feel when they got you?
I was super calm, man. Like, because in this game you expect it Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I've been expecting jail, and even like one of my brethren that ended up snaking me. I even said to my brethren, like, you know, if I ever go to jail, you run the line, just pay me rent every week, like £500 a week, just rent, which is nothing, you know. And then he ended up snaking me anyways.
What took the line?
I wouldn't say he took it, but like he snaked it. Do you know what I mean? I was in prison. Do you know what I mean? And then we had issues afterwards, but it's just all bullshit basically. Yeah. But yeah, I said to him if I was ever to go, because I knew eventually I could go jail, and then when I did go jail, it was his turn to run it. And then yeah, he didn't. He ended up running it, thinking I'm going to be in prison forever, and then he just ended up snaking the line, keeping it all for himself.
So I want to ask you, yeah. Obviously, you mentioned that you robbed the big boss, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the movies and that, they put a hit out on man's head for that. In real life, does that happen or not?
Yeah, that man are dying out here, man.
So what? You had a hit on your head when you robbed the big
No,
Turkish
I
man?
didn't have a hit on my head. It wasn't a big Turkish shoot either. It was like, he was just a big man in Tottenham, if that makes sense. Like back in the days, innit?
Yeah.
And I was a worker at the time. I was just a kid. I was a worker. They don't need to put it was, bro. At the time, I think it was like, it was dead peas, man. It was dead food. It was like, it would have been like maybe an ounce or something like that was robbed. So he can hold that L. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but he was on, man, and we had a few bit of altercations. But then obviously I know people as well. So then it got political and then it got squashed eventually. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause even my co-D, he ended up having more issues because he was closer to them, man. Me, I was a bit away from it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I could kind of get away from it. But yeah, we all just kind of like, it got squashed through a mutual older. And he's big in the game now, but I won't mention his name. Like he's actually big in the game, as in legitly. Like he's kind of famous now, but I won't even mention. I won't even.
There's a few. Yeah. There's a few. So here what then? So what? So you as the boss man now, was there any hits on your head as far as you could remember? Any man want to murk you off? I
had hits on me in prison.
Yeah.
Loads of hits on me in prison, but this is BCAT before I bucked you, but nah, I didn't have no hits on me, bro. Because after that first initial robbery of them, man, it was like I was running my own line, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? And then it was just an issue because I was running the line in a neighbouring town. There was nobody there. It was just me. Like, yeah, I set up. There was nobody there, and it was just me. Then, like, you know, anyone that came into that town, I was robbing them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had that town. This was in Ipswich.
Yeah.
Ipswich was bait, you know. This is Felixstowe, and then I was in Felixstowe for a few years, but it was mine, innit? Do you know what I mean? So no one could put a hit on me. If anything, I was so established there, I wouldn't put a hit. I'd just go and rob them myself. Do you know? I had no hits on me, basically.
For real, you cleaning up the streets.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
So give us a little Country Lions 101, like step-by-step tour book guide thing, yeah? Like, let's say you come to Coventry now, boom. What step?
Coventry was a spot. Coventry was a spot, you know. Bearman was going Coventry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Right here.
Right here, in the studio, yeah? The crow's over there.
Coventry was a spot back in the days.
All right, let's choose the next time. Let's choose Nuneaton. You heard of a place called Nuneaton?
Nah, but
yeah, Bando.
The man them can capitalise on that. Nah, I'm chatting.
Let's say you go to an unknown town for the first time. Like, what for the Country Line done them? What's step one of their process? How do they establish and build a line in a new town or city? What do they do? How do they? What are they trying to identify to make them think? Yeah, this is a good place to set up. How does it work?
I just tell you how I used to run my thing.
Yeah.
I used to. This is how I used to run my thing. I would go there. When I was at the top of it.
Yeah.
I would have a worker.
Yeah.
He'd get paid like $1 a day or whatever.
Is this your most trusted worker? This one.
These are friends. So
okay.
I never used to. You know how they say like, they just put youngers or like they just find kids outside of school. That's just not even true, because why are you gonna trust a kid with your line and your drugs? Like, do you know what I mean? You might get robbed. That's all bullshit. But I used to put my friends on. Do you know what I'm saying? And then they will get paid whatever they're getting paid, and then they will have the pack. I used to tell them, because Felixstowe was only white people, yeah. and there was one black person. He used to be called Black Pete. Yeah, there was one black person. So how I used to pattern is I used to put someone up there in my spot. He used to have the line. He would never leave the house.
So,
The man whose house he was in, which was a user as well, a drug user as well.
Cuckooing, innit?
Cuckooing, yeah, but
Yeah.
see the cuckooing thing. They want you to be in the house because you're paying them. You're paying them rent. They used to fight for I want him in my house. I want him in my house. The way the media portrays cuckooing now is just bullshit, because it just like, you're not going to be in a yard that you're not supposed to be in. At night time, you might call the police. That's just bad for business in general. But they kind of portray it like that. I guess like if the house gets raided, the user says, "Oh, he forced me to do it," kind of thing. I guess that's how it kind of works. But they want you to be in their yard, yeah. So you put someone in the yard, and then the man whose house it is, he used to get paid one of each in the morning, one of each in the night time. That's the rent. Every 10 times he beats a shot, he gets one of each again. And when I say one of each, they're 20s. So it's like £40 in the morning, £40 at night time,
Yeah.
and £40 every 10 times they go out. And then my guy who I would have put up there, he's just playing Xbox or burning weed or whatever. He's just staying in the yard. If he wants food, McDonald's or anything like that, he sends the user whose house it is.
The cracker, yeah.
Because obviously, the minute he steps out in a town like that, he's sticking out like a sore thumb. So basically, yeah, he would just answer all he's doing is answering the phone really, and then someone will call, say, "I want 4 and 3." So you give him 7, and then the guy goes out and beats the shot. So my guy never gets seen, and then he gets picked up. He'll get picked up by a local car. So someone else that's a user that's got a car, he would do the runs back and forth to London, because we would use local cars. A lot of man at the time, I don't know about now because I've been out of the game for time, but a lot of man would get rentals and fly up there, but you're in a London rental, so you're bait. Do you know what I mean? They're seeing a London rental. They're like, what's he doing? What's this London rental coming up to like a quiet town like this kind of thing all the time? So I used to use local cars, and then they'll go back and forth. They used to go back and forth, and yeah, I'd pay the driver, and then and that's just how it ran smoothly for so long, because they would never be seen, and then we'll always switch houses. You know, like, if you might be in one house for a month, switch the house, go to another house. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously it made sense for the person whose house it was, because they get food. Like, the house has always got food. Always, the fridge is always getting filled up, because the man that's living in there,
Who can't leave?
who can't leave, he needs
He
to
needs-
eat.
yeah.
And then, but obviously he's not eating for himself. Everyone's eating, you know. The user needs to be fit and healthy when he's beating these shots. You know? No, I'm chatting, but basically, and that's how I used to run it. And then, a few people got bagged, like a few of the people that was going up there got grabbed, and then eventually I got grabbed, and then I got sent. That was the first time I went to prison.
Okay, and what was your sentence on that first one?
I think it was 3 years, 10 months. I think 3 years, 10 months.
And what, you
I was-
did straight half, or?
No, you do half. Yeah, you did half. I did half. I was a YOI at the time. I was
Yeah.
in H&P Norwich.
Or Norwich?
Yeah.
Any black man in Norwich?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the maddest thing is, like, the black people in Norwich are people like myself, like people that were shot in Norwich, Great Yarmouth, Ipswich.
Yeah.
This is people like myself that came up the country. And then obviously you got like some locals, you know, so there's a few black locals up there and stuff as well that are in prison.
Real tid.
So what was your first night in jail like?
First night in prison.
Like, paint the picture for us.
Do you know what? It was funny, yeah. When I first came into prison, I was still a kid, and even now I'm 33. I got a bit of a baby face, yeah. But back then it was worse. I didn't have no facial hair till I was till I was a lot older. Do you know what I mean? And man, they were shouting out the window, "Fresh meat," and these, them type of things, like trying to intimidate you and that. And then I came
we'll
in
talk about that later as well.
I came on a wing, and then I just saw bare dickheads, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I was trying to get to the bottom of who was shouting fresh meat out the window and that. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was. I thought to myself, like, the movies, like, you got to, and back then you have to bear in mind I was fit. I was on my gym shit. I was a bangers as well. I could bang. Why for that? But But pause.
No, did it? Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I used to think like, yeah, you had to find the biggest guy in the wing and just ping him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it wasn't like that, man. I got made welcome, you know, and then I quickly learned how to move in prison, you know. I'm an introverted person, yeah. I keep myself to myself and I like to analyze situations and make strategic moves, if that makes sense. Like, so I've just kind of always kept myself to myself and you know, people would talk to me and then we just end up bonding kind of thing. And then, and then I always end up trying to find a pattern in jail, like getting a mash, start to get weed in, get stuff in. And then when you're that guy, you're quickly the man on the wing, do you know what I'm saying? And then that's how I found, and then maddest thing is when I was in Norwich, my first phone was one of my cats. He came in with a phone and he's like, Dimitri, you know, and he's like, I'm coming with a phone. He's a regular. This is my first time in prison. Like, he's a big man though.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I got this phone. Like, can you get me? And I was like, all right, look, I'll sort out your people outside, because obviously, you know, that was my spot kind of thing. So
what, that Nitty was one of your workers previously?
no, not a worker, but
or one of your buyers?
Yeah, one of my buyers.
Okay.
So that kind of put me onto my first phone.
Yeah.
And then I remember, the first, obviously I was new in prison and that, and then back then it was 23-hour banger and you used to get an hour out your cell. But I was in Norwich and then there was like, I was on the phone. These times you had to go all the way to the back of the cell to get signal. So then Gov's giving out mail, So Gov's come in, he's giving out the mail, but I'm just at the back of the window on my phone. He seen me and I've seen him, we just clocked each other, and he's like, he's starting to back up, and he's like, he's gonna shut the door on me kind of thing, because I've got the mash in the cell, and you can't dash this out the window or nothing like that.
Yeah.
So then I ran at him, grabbed him out the cell, and then there was cleaners and that, so I ran at him, grabbed him, come out the cell, we're tussling now, got the phone, slid it to Jock, one Scottish guy, slid it, he was a cleaner, he's gone to the cell, banked it, we're tussling now, he's pressed the alarm, they wrapped me up, and then sent me to the block, and then I got security moved to B-Wing, it's like the guards of the jail kind of thing. And that was my first kind of madness, like with the officers, like first time I
You had to do the mad thing.
I had to do a mad thing, because this guy was a job's worth, you know. I saw him.
So you know he was definitely coming in with three more man.
He clocked the phone, and I see him backing up like he's gonna shut the cell on me, and I knew what was happening.
And call him back up and that,
what he would have done was shut the door. You know the thing. He would have shut the door, and he knows that the phone can't go nowhere. Do you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, other than if I flushed it down the toilet,
Yeah, full cell search.
So I just ran at him and pushed him out of the cell, and then I just dashed it to a cleaner, and the cleaner's gone in the cell, banked it.
Yeah, up his battery.
Yeah.
Just for the people at home who don't know what that means.
Yeah, he's banked
more
it.
vividly. Yeah,
he's banked it, and then.
So what was the look in my man's eyes when you rushed him on the sporadic thing? A young fit David Navarro, 80 kg on the bench press and that. What was the look in his eyes?
Man, that's not even it, bro. 80 kg. Give me some respect, man.
That's the warm up. That's light work. Obviously, we're going 180.
Come on, no. But
what was he shot? What was he saying?
Nah, I don't even know. I just ran at him.
I
just ran at him and just pushed him back so I can be out of the cell too, because I knew what he was doing. He was backing up, and I knew what he was doing, so I just kind of ran out with him, and then he ripped my jacket and that. But these times we're tussling. And he's pressed, you got the alarm on the wall.
Yes, the button press one.
He's pressed the button, and then it's going off. Bare feds are running on the wing and that. But by then we're tussling. He don't even realise I've already slid it across the landing to my brethren Jock. This is back in 2010, I think, or 2011. And Jock's already got rid of it. So by the time they wrapped me up, they think they found a phone on me, but they didn't get the mash. So I didn't get a charge, but they just security moved me to another wing.
And then what? Jock got to keep the phone, or did he give it back to you?
Nah, so basically I gave instructions of who to give it to.
Okay.
Kind of thing, and then,
Yeah. That's mad. You know what I'm slowly uncovering about you? You're a mastermind kind of Don. You're like a Sopranos Don. Even that's how he's sitting. That's like Don Corleone kind of posture, That's mad. But yeah, what are you reeling into next? This is very interesting, man. Very interesting.
So, like, more into your sentence, can you explain the usual prison routines and what they were like, and like on a day-to-day basis, like what your daily day in prison is like?
Well, let's break it down, because obviously you've been through different phases of the prison system. Obviously, for those at home who don't know, I'll let you explain. Obviously, you got the different categories. Let's start there. Depending on the category will depend on the regime and how your day-to-day operates. So just break it down for them in that respect. And then the day-to-day on...
Yeah, so you got like category A prisons, which are like high profile crimes.
Just Ian Huntley and them, man.
Yeah, like murders, usually murders, or
terrorists,
or people with big sentences but are stabbing man up in jail, basically, like doing a mad thing. Those are category A prisons.
Okay.
The only category A I did was Belmarsh, but it was a remand kind of thing. It was like, it's not necessarily category A, but it held category A's.
Yeah.
And then you got category B, which is long-termers, and it's like, if you got 10 years and up, you go to the category B, no matter.
Yeah.
And then category C is like, you know, you're doing small birds, you're coming home soon. And then category D is like, you've been well behaved in prison, and you're basically in an open prison. You go home, come back to prison, you go to work, come back to prison, kind of thing. Okay. And yeah, those are the categories. Did I miss something?
No, you hit it on the head. So going back to what Dre was saying, then let's say, for example, Belmarsh. What was the regime like in Belmarsh? Although it was a remand jail, obviously it's got some Cat A prisoners in there. What was it like?
Bare Cat A prisons in there. But Belmarsh was a 23-hour bang up. Or was it 22? I think it was 23. Yeah, because it would be 1 hour social and then 1 hour exercise. Wait.
What, Sharon? Is that all in 1 hour?
That's domestics.
Yeah,
15 minutes in the morning. I think it's 15 20. I think it's half an hour in the morning when they're letting out for education. That's when you can have your shower, clean your cell, and then you come out for, I think it's half an hour association or an hour association, I think. But the bang up was tight there, you know. And then obviously you got all the high profile prisoners there, like the Hatton Garden guys were there. You heard about the Hatton Garden? No. Never heard about them?
I've heard about it. Yeah, they
the old men that
vault thing and robbed all them jewels.
Yeah.
One of them has still never been caught.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so. One of them still never been caught.
I rate them lot, man. They were sick. They were sick, man. Come on, man. Go give it to them.
Yeah, trust me.
But there was all high profile. Like basically from the Old Bailey, you go to Belmarsh. That's the local prison there, and all the high profile cases in London is in the Old Bailey. So basically everything that you see on the news, they're likely to be London wise. They're likely to be in Belmarsh.
Okay.
And yeah, Belmarsh, I spent about 15, 16 months, 17 months, I'm not sure.
On remand?
In Belmarsh, yeah.
Real tea.
Not in remand. I was sentenced after like 7-8 months, but then it takes a while to, and my trial was a month. And then once you get sentenced, that's when they try to locate you. But I guess it takes a while to get people moving. And I actually requested to go to Dovegate, which is a category B, because a lot of people was getting shipped to dispersal, which is the category A's, you know, even. But because I just had the threshold for like a category B, like 10 years, I just wasn't trying to, you know, I wasn't trying to go into an A cat. I just wanted to go to a B cat, because the A cats are like, it's way harder to get a phone in there. It's way harder to like have your outside luxuries inside, kind of thing.
So you're saying category A UK prisons are more tightly controlled? Way
more tightly controlled.
Yeah.
Phones are going for stupid amounts if you can get a phone in there, because their security is A1, you know.
But yeah,
nothing like Only. You know that, cuz.
Yo, money man and that. Yo, that's crazy. So you spent a little time at 17 months at Belmarsh.
Around that, my memory's hazy, but
yeah,
I spent 16, 17, 18 probably in Belmarsh, I think.
Then Dovegate. Is that private or public?
Private. That's why I wanted to go there. Because private, they had like shower in your cell and that, you know, and it was chicken more than once a week. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, in like normal prisons, you get chicken only on a Sunday, but in Dovegate, there was like you can get chicken like 3 times a week and that. And then they had things like Breville's. Do you know what a Breville is? Like a George Foreman grill.
Oh yeah.
At the time, they've stopped doing it now, but at the time, they was allowing you to get Breville's. So you know how man are cooking in kettles and that? We didn't even have to do that. We was just
crank
on the
over
Breville,
George Foreman and
yeah,
that. Steaks crazy and that.
Yeah.
Eggs and chips and that. Yo,
Yeah.
them that tonight still.
So I wanted to go Dovegate, and then also there was a thing called Therapeutic Community, TC, and it's like, I was there for about a year, not even a year, I don't know if I made it for a year in there, but that was nice as well because you're out a lot more, you know, but you have to go for intense courses.
Ain't it like a pipe wing?
Basically a pipe
Yeah,
wing.
pipe wing, yeah.
But I didn't
There's a
last
few
there, I
of
got
them.
security off that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the story? Might as well go into it. How do you get security off the pipe wing? Off the therapeutic lovey-dovey wing? How do you get security moved off that wing?
Nah, so basically, them times I remember there was a few officers bringing packs in and stuff like that, and I wasn't dealing with the officer specifically, but my friend was dealing with this officer, Wandsworth thing, you know.
Yeah, how about you lot?
Yeah, he was dealing with the officer, and I was just putting packs on, you know. I was getting them like putting my pack on, you know, phones, burn, whatever, and then eventually. So I was doing it with this Manchester guy and these 2 Manchester youths and a Liverpool youth. And then one time I was in healthcare linking my Code D at the time. And then I'm going to link my Code D, and then I've seen like one of them, because we was doing this for a little bit, and I've seen one of them getting marched off like in handcuffs, DST and that. And then I've seen the other one get marched off in handcuffs. But I'm in the healthcare block. But I can see it from the window.
Yeah.
And I'm like, rah, damn man, I get marched off. Like, what the fuck? But I'm thinking I'm cool because I'm not banging officers. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm involved in the pattern, but
You're at a distance.
at a distance kind of thing. And then they bust their healthcare like Navarro. Yeah. And then, bruv, these times I had a pack on me as well, so I've just kind of put my hands behind my back, took the pack out of my waistband, and just flicked it to my brethren, my Code D, and then.
You're quite good at disguising things and getting things gone before they find it on you, innit?
They didn't clock it, and they marched me off to the block. And then, that time I missed Christmas. I spent 3 months in the block, GAD.
Yeah.
I missed Christmas, New Year's and that. And then they security moved me after that, Then I went, where did I go? I went Doncaster. They shipped me all the way up north.
Doncaster.
All the way up north they sent me,
And what, a black man up there as well?
Barely.
Yeah, I know we were going to get scared if you were going up north. Yorkshire sides and that.
They was... Nah, but them man are serious. Don't get it twisted, fam. You see, that's what I'm saying. You go up north, the Liverpool youths, the Yorkshire youths and that, you know, they're serious.
They're on
youths,
smoke and that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's just a different type of smoke, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that, bro, Doncaster was probably one of the most lethal prisons I've been in. Like, because I remember I landed in Doncaster 4 days in, or probably about 4 days in, 3 days in. I can't remember, my memory's hazy, but I remember youths bouncing onto a wing. They're not even on our wing. They've bounced onto the wing, stabbed up a youth, and bounced off the wing. The screw's just letting him in and letting him out. Like, and they've seen everything, bro. They've stabbed up the youth and then just come off the wing, kind of thing. And it was that jail was run by prisoners. You know, you couldn't put man on basic. You could not even think about putting man on basic. You'd be in trouble. Do you know what I mean?
What, the officers get terrorized?
Terrorized. There was money on the officer's head, left, right, and center. Like,
Swear.
they knew that. Like, that jail was like, that was unruly. You had to really be on your shit in that jail.
And what cut was Doncaster? Is it
B-cat.
B-cat? Is it still B-cat now?
Yeah.
Real dude.
Yeah. And then, from Donny, had a few madnesses there again, got security moved to Loudon Grange. That's in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And then Loudon Grange.
But let's pull up. Let's talk about the madnesses in Donny, because Donny sounds interesting, Doncaster.
Yeah. There was just see these madnesses.
What, you and these up north, man?
Yeah, but these madnesses, you can't really talk about it because I didn't get nicked for it.
Okay,
You know what I'm
so you
saying?
don't want to self-incriminate things that technically didn't happen, but did happen.
But it's a thing where you can do a mad thing, you're not getting nicked, but they'll ship you out. kind
Yeah,
of thing. Because
yeah.
the governor, I guess the governors didn't really want that on their record, you know, like
That
serious violence on their record and stuff like that. So yeah, there was a few serious violence incidents, you know.
So let's not talk about the ones you were or weren't not involved in. What have you seen? Like, what's the maddest thing you've seen at Doncaster? The maddest, most goriest incident.
It's just like, you know, you got the hot water things and
With the sugar in that.
Yeah, that's standard though. Stabbings. Do you know what it is in Doncaster? Yeah, there was so much spice. Because at the time, they wasn't checking the letters. They didn't open. You know, in most jails they open letters before they give it to you. They was not opening no letters, so everyone was just getting pages and pages of spice, and then it just turned into like, I'll put a page of spice on your head, you know, and a page of spice in other prisons, I think it's worth like £300, like £250, £300, and everyone, it was just hit central, you know,
Drugs.
and the drug users, the spice users, would just like would do the hits for the spice kind of thing, and it's like, it could be anything, it could be officers, you know, they're just getting done, like, you know, like an officer might search you and take your shit, and then they might just search your cell and take your stuff, and then he'll have a hit on his head, then before you know he's got shit, bro. There was, you know, they'll get moved to like punched up as soon as man come out the cell, you're getting punched up for just for doing your job basically, like.
Yeah.
So that's why it was like Donny was like
Gaza.
that was a different type of jail, man. It was Gaza. And that was up north. You'd think that shit's down south, but it was Gaza up Donny, man. You know.
So when we talk about Gaza, Donny, then did the prison officers move differently to how they would move to in prisons you were in down south?
I'm seeing
timid
gal-
or shook or
Nah,
what were they doing?
They're just here, man. It's like we just all, you know. But I'm seeing gal just get their ass slapped, bam.
Yeah.
You know, just they're walking past, bap, ass
One's
slapped.
with you, man, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And it was like, it was just like, I'm on basic, yeah. Press the cell bell when the door opens, pick you up, move you out the way. I'm out now. Like, and then that officer's too embarrassed to tell his SO or his CM that, right, my man just moved me out the way. He's out his cell now. So he just
yeah.
People are like, you know, rocking back and forth from spice, you know. It's just, that jail was a mad thing. I can't even lie.
So for you yourself now, in that kind of like, because how you've described it, I think for the average person that's just pure chaos. How do you navigate those obstacles and pitfalls and potential hazards to keep yourself safe and not fall into the pit of doom as you've described it?
You've got to be a savage yourself. That's it. You've got to be
So you can't be a cat in the tiger's den. You got to be a madman as well.
You got to be a savage yourself. Yeah. Otherwise, don't get it twisted. Man ain't really bullying man or nothing like that. But if you're like a man like me that enjoys comforts like phones and stuff like that, you know,
you got to defend it.
You have to defend it. Then you have to have a name for doing your thing. So man, like, nah, not him. Like,
because you're top
end up
defender,
getting stabbed
Sergio
up.
Ramos.
Yeah, or something like like,
Rio Ferdinand, top defender on your team.
Yeah, I got my nose broken at jail still. Yeah,
Swear.
Yeah, man.
Well, one of these up north dons.
Yeah.
And then what happened to him? Kalas.
I don't know, man. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so we've moved on from so Belmarsh to Dovegate to Doncaster. Where are we next in the sequence?
Loudon Grange.
Loudon Grange.
Yeah.
What was that saying?
Loudon Grange was never private. It was called.
Was that Circle or G4S?
I can't remember.
Don't remember.
Yeah, but Loudon Grange, innit? That's
Yeah.
a private jail. They're all
Yeah.
the same to me. But yeah, Loudon was calm again. Like, it was just like, do you know what it is? When you're in a jail full of lifers, man, them just want to do their bird. Like, man, them just want to, because they're here for forever, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? And that makes it like, it's more calm. It's different caliber of man. Like, because when it does go off, it goes off, but it doesn't usually go off, if that makes sense. It's like, because a lot of men are doing life, they want to enjoy their stuff, like their you know, the stuff that they've got. They don't want to bring it on top. Like, they might have like, they don't want to disturb their pattern, basically. So everyone's just kind of cool. But when it goes off, it really goes off. And yeah, when I was in there, I think I arrived there with some bits and pieces. And then this youth, I've given him bits and pieces, and he's cut off the wing. And then I ended up seeing him education. It was like an on-site thing.
On-site?
Yeah, and then it was like from there I got sent to the SRU. I don't know if you know about SRU because that might be a private thing. It's
I'm sure you can explain for the audience what's SRU.
SRU is like, it's not the block, it's one up from the block. So it's like you're all in the wing.
Yeah.
You're just all in the wing, and then, but it's not the block, but like it's just all people that was committing violence and stuff.
Okay, so you're not segregating in different cells.
It's like rehabilitation. Like it's block, SRU, and then from there they find your wing to like live on kind of thing. But I did well there, man. I ended up like, becoming an orderly. I was SRU orderly, and because it was private jail, I was getting paid like £35 a week, which is big bread in jail. That's big bread. I was getting paid £35 a week plus my standard wages on top of that. So that's like 35 plus 15 is £50 a week. I was having on my canteen, basically.
200 a month. That's serious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, I asked them, can I stay on the SRU, because there was, if there was any like altercations and that, I was like a peacemaker, and stopping any trouble and stopping any violence and stuff, and that's how I got the orderly job in the first place. And then I asked to stay on the SRU. Then I stayed there until eventually they just snaked me and they tried to move me onto the Gaza. Like I was there for a long time getting paid good money and that, and then they tried to move me onto the Gaza. And then from the Gaza, one time, so what had happened was, they cell searched me. And they've come in, I think this was the security, they've come in and I had a stick in the TV in it.
Yeah.
A USB stick. Had it in the TV. And then they've come in and I've just kind of jumped up. And then I've kind of moved towards the TV. Yeah, they're like, Navarro, don't move. I just quickly grabbed it. And then I've like quickly put it in my mouth. Yeah.
Well, you swallowed that?
Yeah, I swallowed it. Yeah, but they choked me so it wasn't going down. So they was like, they got on top of me. They was wrapping me up. So one of them, like, they had my hands behind my back, foot on my head, foot on my back. And it was like, and one had their hands in my throat so it couldn't go down. Like I had it in my mouth trying to swallow it, but like my windpipe was closed. I couldn't get the USB stick down. It's just a little USB stick like that with, movies on it and music and stuff like that. But yeah, so they was doing that, choking me out, whatever. And I just played dead, yeah. And I was like, I pretended like I passed out. And as soon as he let go of my neck, swallowed it. Do you know what I'm saying? And then, I tried to bring a case against them. And you know how these officers are fuckery, yeah? They're all chatting shit like, nah, never, because they battered me. I had bruises all over my face. There was like thumping my, because they saw me swallow the thing. And they were trying to like punching my face, stepping on my head and stuff like that. And one guy was choking me, so I was just getting banged and stuff like that. But yeah, as soon as they let go, I swallowed it and got rid of it. And then I was concussed. So then when they put me in the holding cell while they were searching my cell, because I was concussed, I threw it up, the stick, and then washed it out, and then I had it again. So they found nothing, but I brought a case against the prison, and because I brought a case, I remember I was BCAT for 4 years. Yeah, I brought a case against the prison, and then they give you the paperwork like, why should you get CCAT? And I was like, stuff your CCAT. I'm home next year. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool. I don't need CCAT. Whatever. And then because I had a case against them, they gave me CCAT and sent me to Only, and that's how
we met each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they shipped you on to hide the story.
Yeah. They didn't want to deal with the case because like I was all going down the mental health route. I was like PTSD. Every time I hear keys, do you know what I'm saying? Like I was doing all of that. But bro, they moved to me. Like bury them. They moved to me. Even the dog handler, the lady, she started screaming. When they started moving to me, they was battering me. But yeah, it was a mad thing. I brought a case against them. It just went dead. I ran out of funds. You know the public fund. What's it called? When
Legal aid.
I ran out of legal aid.
Yeah. Legal
and
aid.
And because I wasn't in the prison anymore, it was hard to carry it on. So I just held the L, kind of thing.
Just did it off.
Yeah. But they moved. They CCAT'd me. You know, usually they knock you back for C. Every year they knock me back for CCAT. Like that's like progressing like to a lesser category. And then in the end, yeah, they gave me my paperwork. I had a year and change left. And they was like, oh, why should we give you CCAT? They give you paperwork. And I literally wrote, stuff your CCAT. I don't want it. Going home next year, I'm on a straight sentence, you know. And then they gave me CCAT and then shipped me out of the prison to Ondi.
Just to keep you quiet. That's mad.
Say it with chest podcast.